where do you go from here? I mean, this is a tall order, what you're trying to create. I mean, you could live your entire life in that space, but
Yeah.
honestly, where do you see the buildup? Where do you think you want to take these skills and your passions?
Yeah. I think, one thing I said when I first started this role is I'm not going to be here doing this for a long time. You know, not because I knew I would love it, I knew that I would, but in order for this work to continue the right way, the way that I would love for it to continue, there needs to be a constant turning over of leadership, a constant reinvestment, a constant reinvigoration, a revisioning, around how this works. And if I sit here and do this for 15, 20 years, that's not going to happen. And I also have lots of interest and I want to make impact in all types of places. So I knew that that was my plan going in. I think um, this work of carving out what this work looks like in the future is really important, to take that, to be the person to take the first crack
Mm-hmm.
at what does it really look like, to have an LGBTQ department in local government, and what are some of the challenges and opportunities. I think that that's being carved out. And once we do a couple of, major moves to where there are things that are sustainable and reliable, that can live on, then I'll be ready to move on. Um, I mentioned that I was a teacher, and teaching will always be my favorite job. It will always be the hardest job I've ever had. Shout out to all the teachers, particularly now during the pandemic. I was a middle school math teacher. I couldn't imagine teaching algebra to eighth graders on Zoom. Like, I just couldn't imagine that. Um, but I think that there was so much poured into me as a young person, and so when you're able to give that back to young people, for me, that's like the most worthwhile work. So I see myself, working with young people in some way. I've also gotten more into the like coaching consulting, role. And so kind of I call it like moving from pop star to producer. So, getting from actor to director, so moving behind the camera, and giving space and resources for other people to shine,
I love that.
and to contribute, your expertise, your leadership and experience to grow things around you. So that's where I see myself. I think that I've been working hard to grow things, and do things myself, but now I can kind of take a step back, and start to do that for others. And so whether that's a school or some advisory capacity somewhere, but always I think teaching people how to love each other is something that I'll always be involved with, in some way. So
That is a
that's what I see.
wonderful, wonderful theme to keep going in your life and in your work life, especially because then you'll never be working. You'll always just be
Right.
fulfilling yourself and the people around you. But who poured into you? Who loved you up? Who encouraged you? Where do you rejuvenate? Where does that come from?
Yeah. I'm really lucky to be a part of such a close family. And we have our issues and our drama and all those things just like any other family. But I think that from a really young age, I had a lot of really awesome women, particularly, who surrounded themselves around me and said, "You are powerful, you are beautiful, you are intelligent, you are someone, you are special, all of these messages that I got from birth, on. Um, my family has really built themselves up around me and has really invested in me. And they were the first people who really helped me see my light. And they continue, they're so proud of me. And they might not always understand all the nuances of the stuff that I do, but they see how much shine I spread and it makes them so happy. And it's because of all the shine they were able to give to me. And so, being a Black queer man, it's so beautiful that I was able to get that from my family. My mom is my biggest fan. She lives with me currently, and so we're roommates. And the way she just looks at me every day, as if she's never seen me before, every day, is just that type of love is so nourishing and powerful. And, so I really appreciate her for that. And just like everybody, everyone's great. So my family is a big source of support and love for me. They verify and validate my specialness all the time. And I'm really lucky.